Why is real estate the safest way to make money? I'm going to share a few reasons why I believe that, how it's been true for me and my family. But first, I'm Justin Spalding. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't checked out the channel before, please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. Please share it with someone else. We've got 2,000 apartments that we own and manage, and we've got about 200 investors. We have a private equity arm as well, and we've been growing like crazy. 9 years ago right now, I bought my first 4 unit, and we just kept going and going and going and going. We got about 40 employees on staff full time, and we're excited to purchase another 3,000 units here over the next 14 months, 15 months or so, and be at 5,000 units by the end of 2023. Why I think real estate is the safest and how it's been that way for me, why it's the safest investment, safest way to make money. I think that there's a handful of reasons. I'm just going to kind of go through and list why I think. Number one, it's a real asset. So anytime that your money's wrapped up in a business or a technology or in the stock market or whatever it might be, those are investments in pieces of paper and goodwill, right? There's sometimes there's not a lot of tangible actual items that are worth anything that is kind of behind the business or behind the dollars of which you are using to invest, right? Behind the investment. And so with real estate, just like this place right here, right? The apartments that we own, we can touch them, we can feel them, we can see them. I can go check them out every single day if I wanted to, every single month. They're there. They're not moving. They're not a piece of paper like the stock market is, right? They're not just a flashing number across the screen. The second way I think it's the safest is I have some control over what we do with our real estate properties. 99.99% of people who are buying stocks on the stock market do not have control whatsoever. You're completely at the mercy of the stock market, right? Unless you're like Warren Buffett. Warren buys enough stock over time to actually have influence over the company, right? So he's playing a completely different ball game than you're playing if you're just investing $100,000 or even $1 million or even $10 million into the stock market. Warren Buffett's buying controlling interest. Warren Buffett's buying enough stock to actually have very significant influence over the performance of the company. By buying so much stock as well, I know a lot of people are going to not believe me when I say I truly believe that he actually knows more about the company than what all the other people do, even though that would be considered insider trading. I'm convinced that a lot of that stuff goes on. How do some of these people get so far ahead of the game and do so well? Well, you look at them, they're investing huge amounts into these companies and controlling interests, and it seems like they always have a little bit of a heads up before you or I would have a heads up. The next reason, there's cash flow. It's cash flow positive, right, with our real estate investments. So the apartments that we have, we buy all of those apartments cash flow positive day one. So when we write a $20 million equity check into an apartment building, month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5, month 6, it's cash flow positive. We're getting cash flow distributions every single month right from the get-go at our properties. And on top of that, we're able to add value to those properties by doing updates to the apartments, updates to the grounds, updates to the common areas, that then we can, increase the rents and get more cash flow. Right. And so when we do that, when we increase the cash flow, the asset becomes more valuable. So we can force appreciation, which forced appreciation is kind of another, benefit on why I think it's safe. But the cash flow, right? Most stocks, you don't have cash flow that's coming every single month. Yes, they'll pay a dividend. Yes, but when you look at the amount of cash flow they're going to throw off, most stocks is hardly anything. And with those as well, you don't have a say, you don't have control on how much is being dividend and paid out. You don't have a say in when. You don't have a say like, hey, it can stop. There's companies that announce that dividends will be stopping or they get cut or whatever, and now you don't have any cash flow left, and now you're just sitting there and waiting for the asset to appreciate, the stock to appreciate, right? And you might have to hold on for a long, long time. So with what we do, it's paying us day one. We're getting a 6%, 8%, 10% cash on cash return. Meaning if us and our investors put $20 million into a 460 unit deal like we just did last month, if it's a 10% cash on cash return that we're getting from that investment, that's $2 million the asset's going to pay us in year one. So we're getting paid every single month and getting our investment back every single month while we sit and wait. And while we also force the appreciation to happen of the property. It's the property becomes worth more, and then in the future we're going to sell that property for a big bang, right? And grab a big bag on the exit. But again, we want to be paid to wait. I don't want to sit there and wait. Like, it's pointless for me. I can't, this house that I'm sitting in right now is paid for by the cash flow of our assets that we have. If I didn't have cash flow, like, what am I going to do? Wait until I'm 65, until we have there's huge increase in the stocks, and then, be able to sell them, pay capital gains, and then do what's left, right? Just reinvest again, or we're always looking for cash flow. The next reason it's a safe benefit is because you're also going to get tax benefits that come with that cash flow. So a lot of the cash flow that's paid out for the first 2 to 5 years, depending what it might be, you're not going to actually pay tax today on that money. I always tell people, I work with professional athletes in our pro players circle, and I tell them, hey guys, what you don't realize is if you guys can convert these dollars into cash flow producing real estate investments, if you can convert and take your earnings that you make in the NFL, your endorsement deal money, and turn those over to cash flow producing assets and start making money that way, every dollar that you make from cash flow producing real estate is actually like making $2 in your professional contract or your endorsements. And they're like, well, how's that? I'm like, because it's not going to be taxed. You're not going to pay tax on it that day. You got Patrick Mahomes. If he's going to have a $500 million contract, what people don't realize is how much that's going to be taxed. 50% of it. He loses it right away, right? So that takes him down to $250 million right away before you even count his agents getting paid and whatever, right? So it takes him down to $250 million. So if you have $250 million come in from real estate, that's essentially like a $500 million contract, because you end up in the same spot. The net is the same. Another reason that it's safe is because people are like, well, what happens if your property burns down? We got insurance. We're insured, right? And with that insurance money, we're gonna be able to pay off the debt. And then we get to decide. We can either walk because there's enough insurance money that might pay us out to be able to walk away and still have a healthy return, or we rebuild, right? Pay off the debt. We rebuild a new building to replace it, and now we're rocking and rolling going forward again with a cash flow producing asset. Another tax benefit, 1031 exchanges. So with real estate, when you do sell a property, it's paying you cash flow like we already talked about every single month. You sell the property 3 years later, 5 years later, 8 years later, you can elect to do a 1031 exchange, right? So what that does, that's going to allow you to keep more money working for you, pay less money to the government today, defer the taxes on it. And now instead of taking a $10 million proceeds and only having $5 million left after you pay, capital gains tax is less, right? So you take a $10 million windfall, and instead of having $7.5 million left, because 2.5 is going to Uncle Sam, you can take the full $10 million and keep the $10 million working for you, as opposed to having only $7.5 million that you can keep working for you. Those are a handful of reasons why I think real estate is the safest bet, safer than the stock market, safer than a lot of businesses and most businesses. I think that all those reasons that I just mentioned are why that the normal average person can become a millionaire, multimillionaire, decamillionaire, a centimillionaire, billionaire, is because it's not, I'm not Elon Musk. I'm never going to go start Tesla. Right? I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm not going to go start SpaceX. That's not something that I am going to go do. It's just not. It's not likely, right? Can I become a billionaire through real estate? I absolutely 1000% believe that over time I can become a billionaire in real estate. It is rather simple to get started in. It doesn't require I went to the University of Dubuque, smaller school. We didn't even have a real estate school. So what I did on my own was, in the summer, I'd take real estate classes at UW-Madison. So I ended up kind of graduating on a fast track a little bit. The last semester of school, all I had was my internship. I was done with class credits and all that stuff. But I read about 180 books from my sophomore year through my senior year of college on my own. I would skip classes every now and then and read books on real estate, finance, private equity, successful business people, successful real estate people. I then took that knowledge and applied it. I found a way to save $40,000, and the $40,000 got me into my first 4-unit that is now turned into over 1,800 apartments. We're closing in on 2,000 with asset values of $300 million, all in the last 9 years. And I'm not the smartest person on the planet. I'm a pretty regular probably average IQ. It's hard work. It's being able to be disciplined. It's getting started today and not waiting. And these reasons that I share with you in these videos is definitely why real estate is the safest investment that you can make, the safest thing that you can do with your money, with still obtaining huge abnormal returns if you are doing it and structuring it right. Now, to see how we're structuring it, to see how we do it right, subscribe to the channel, like this video, share it with other people that might be of interest to it. We do, I have books out there. I do coaching and all that stuff, so you can check that out at www.justinspalding.com. There's all different price levels depending where you're at. We got products on there that are $20 all the way up to $50,000 plus. And, you can get involved that way, and we can teach you, and you can be on the fast track to get your money in the safest investment with the most upside, with a lot of great tax benefits that can set you up for not just your life, but your kids, your grandkids, and your great-grandkids' life as well. So thank you guys so much. Please subscribe to the channel, and we'll get at you with the next Want to Know Wednesday next week.